Subcommittee hearing to examine how technology is used and could be used across different transportation ecosystems, and how to ensure industry has the flexibility to deploy such technologies voluntarily and in adherence with common sense principles. Over the past decade, we've seen a rise in innovative technologies that require us to reimagine how our transportation networks operate. Technology like autonomous vehicles, or AVs as we call them, a solution to mobility and safety challenges our roadways have faced for decades. AVs will provide mobility for seniors and those with disabilities while increasing the safety of our roads by drastically reducing the number of crashes that are often caused by human error. In our trucking ecosystem, in addition to safety, AVs can better secure supply chains while taking strain away from workers who often drive countless hours to meet deadlines. We've also seen the development of train inspection portals, which can analyze images of trains as they move throughout the country to better understand defects or other maintenance needs that a person may not be able to detect as easily or quickly. By taking the strain away from maintenance workers scouring over every rail car and maintenance bay, cars can get back on the track and continue delivering essential goods. There's also vehicle-to-everything, or V2X technologies that can provide drivers with critical information as they travel, like where construction crews are stationed on highways or where dangerous conditions exist, potentially preventing tragic accidents. I won't go into every technology that exists, of course. I don't want to steal the thunder of our esteemed panelists. But these are only a few of the vast suite of technologies contributing to safer and more efficient roads and tracks that may be discussed today, many of which were only a pipe dream a short time ago. They were of course, referenced years ago in the Jetsons or Star Trek, but now many of those things are upon us. The technology ecosystem, especially within transportation, is fast and expanding, and it requires flexibility. The federal government has done well in the past establishing pilot projects or exemptions to test the effectiveness of certain technologies. However, we're often slow at the federal level when it comes to expanding proven technologies past the pilot program stage. So to fully realize the benefits of these innovations, we'll need to provide certainty to the private sector and develop pathways to commercialization, especially for proven technologies. Where we've seen success, we've also seen stagnation. Enacted legislation and promulgated rules have mandated technology too nascent in its life cycle, or set rules with limited to no flexibility. For instance, over half a decade ago, regulations were effectuated that would require truck drivers to deploy warning triangles whenever they stopped their truck on the side of the road. And for a time, this rule made sense to ensure the safety of other road users and the drivers themselves. As technology advanced, however, alternative solutions were developed with the very same, if not greater, effectiveness. If there are avenues that could allow for industry to provide the same or greater level of efficacy while increasing safety, then I believe Congress should remove the red tape prohibiting this sort of innovation. I'm glad to hear of the recent waiver issued by the Department of Transportation to allow for cab-mounted warning beacons in certain instances, eliminating the need for a driver to get out of the vehicle, especially in unsafe situations like low visibility. But this is just one rule that's limiting the ingenuity of our private sector. Our adversaries won't wait for us to tie our shoes. If the technologies that will transform our transportation ecosystem are locked behind outdated rules or tied up in red tape, other countries will develop these solutions first, and the job revolution and manufacturing capacity will occur overseas rather than here in Michigan or Indiana. Indiana is the most manufacturing-intensive state in the country and known as the crossroads of America. My state's ready to deliver solutions to meet the manufacturing capacity needs. I'm sure many of my colleagues want the same opportunities for their state as well. So as Congress continues to contemplate legislation, it's imperative that we protect the innovative opportunities that will bolster our supply chains, increase safety, and deliver other workable transportation solutions to meet the needs of our economy. We have an experienced panel covering several different modes of the transportation economy today. I'm looking forward to your testimony to better learn how we can work to advance technological innovation in our transportation ecosystem, to secure American leadership in the industry, and to ensure our private sector has the flexibility it needs to develop and deploy these transformative technologies. Thank you again for being here today, all of you, and I now recognize Ranking Member Peters for his opening remarks.
Well, thank you, Chairman Young, and thank you to our esteemed witnesses for being here today. Today, we're going to be hearing from witnesses across sectors about how technology is transforming our transportation system, from our vehicles to our roads to our railroads. And I have long advocated for harnessing technological innovation to combat the challenges we face in the transportation sector, from unsafe roads, harmful environmental impacts, to freight and infrastructure challenges that raise prices for everyday Americans. Our prime example is autonomous vehicles. For years, I have said that Congress cannot continue to stand on the sidelines when it comes to these AVs. I believe we must pass a federal AV framework to harness the safety benefits of this technology, ensure that it is deployed responsibly, and cement U.S. leadership in the development, manufacturing, and deployment on our roads. But autonomous vehicles are only one piece of the technological puzzle. When I first came to the Senate, I helped push for positive train control technology that is now deployed across the rail system to prevent collisions and high-speed train derailments. Last Congress, after the East Palestine derailment, we saw firsthand the importance of wayside detection technology, and this committee authored the Railway Safety Act in response. On our roadways, both cities and states have leveraged federal funds to deploy AI and connected vehicle technology to prevent accidents before they happen and to get first responders to the scene a whole lot faster. We've also seen passenger and commercial vehicle deploy advanced driver assistance systems to help keep both drivers and the public safe. But there's so much more to do. As we talk today about the opportunities and challenges posed by transportation technology and the role Congress should play in driving that innovation, I want to hear from our witnesses in 4 basic questions. First, how can we harness technology for economic growth? Technology should not just increase efficiency, it should also increase the affordability for Americans. Second, how can this technology support and not replace our workforce? Technology has the potential to improve safety and productivity for American workers, including America's truck drivers, if we play our cards right. But technology should also create good-paying American jobs, which I believe we must develop and manufacture here at home, here in the United States. And third, how do we ensure emerging transportation technology doesn't compromise Americans' privacy or U.S. national security? So for example, today's vehicle technologies have advanced sensor suites that collect and analyze a huge amount of data, which would be extremely dangerous in the wrong hands. That's why I've pushed to keep Chinese vehicles and vehicle technologies out of the United States. And I want to hear from our witnesses today about protecting data exploitation by our adversaries, as well as here at home. And fourth, and most importantly, how can transportation technology be harnessed to save lives? Every year, 40,000 Americans die on our highways, and nearly 1,000 die on our railroads. And these aren't just numbers, they're families that will never be whole again. We must take action, and we know that technology is certainly part of that solution. I believe it will require government, industry, labor and advocates coming together to address safety, crisis, and to ensure that technology is deployed on our transportation system in a way that benefits all Americans. I look forward to contributing to this effort through our discussion here today. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Well, thank you, Senator Peters. I'd now like to introduce our witnesses for today for this hearing, The Need for Speed. Again, the catchy title we have. Our first witness is Mr. Ian Jeffries. Mr. Jeffries is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Association of American Railroads. He's led AAR since January of 2019. He has over a decade of experience in transportation policy, including roles at federal agencies and the Senate Commerce Committee. Mr. Jeffries?
Good morning, Chairman Young, Ranking Member Peters, other members of the subcommittee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Today's hearing comes at an important moment for American transportation. Next year, believe it or not, freight railroads will mark their 200th anniversary. An industry grounded in history, but being rapidly transformed by innovation. The modern rail network increasingly relies on AI-assisted inspections, machine vision, predictive analytics, advanced sensors, and real-time data. These tools help identify risks earlier and improve safety across the 140,000-mile network and enhance service reliability. And the results are clear. According to the Federal Railroad Administration, 2025 was the safest year on record across key measures, including derailment rate, equipment and track-caused accidents, and, importantly, employee injuries. This progress reflects sustained investment, employee expertise, and continuous innovation. And that leads to my first point. Technology is driving record safety gains and will be essential to the next leap forward. The future of rail safety depends on detecting issues before they become failures. And we're seeing this across the industry. For example, at BNSF, systems collect real-time track data during regular service, while AI-enabled tools identify defects earlier than traditional methods. And together with continuous rail temperature monitoring, they enable a fully data-driven inspection model. CSX uses advanced detection technology that combines GPS, cameras, radar, and LiDAR to monitor work zones to automatically stop equipment movement when risks are identified. Norfolk Southern deploys AI-powered imaging portals that scan rail cars at track speed and flag defects in near real time. Technology now identifies 75% of mechanical defects on that railroad. Union Pacific uses machine vision and AI to analyze large data sets, detect patterns, and predict maintenance needs months in advance, allowing more targeted preventive action. Other railroads are advancing similar innovations. CN uses automated inspection systems and ground-penetrating radar, while CPKC applies optical technology to detect early-stage defects. Across the industry, technology is expanding both the reach and precision of inspections. And these tools support, not replace, railroad employees, giving them better information to improve safety and operations. Which leads to my second point. When policymakers consider technology, I ask that they take a mode-neutral approach to transportation technology. Advanced tools are reshaping freight movement across not only rail, but trucking, maritime, and logistics writ large. And rail should not be treated differently simply because it's an established industry or because innovative changes challenge legacy assumptions. Federal policy should encourage innovation based on measurable outcomes, not restrict through outdated frameworks or preferences. Third, rail needs a regulatory system to keep pace with innovation. Much of today's regulatory structure was developed 5 decades ago and does not reflect modern technologies or operating practices. Railroads now have more advanced ways to meet safety goals, yet regulations often prevent those methods from being used to satisfy requirements. At the same time, we're seeing legislative proposals that could lock in legacy practices or double down on legacy practices, risking slowing down progress at a time when innovation is thriving. If we want continued safety improvements, affordability, and supply chain resilience, policy must enable investment and support development and deployment of new technologies, not discourage them. Let data guide decisions and safety outcomes, not rigid inputs. Freight rail operates one of the world's most interconnected systems and invests roughly $23 billion annually in infrastructure, equipment, and technology. And the question is whether policy will support that progress. And this is not just about transportation. It's about American competitiveness. Rail moves about 40% of long-haul freight and supports critical industries across the economy. These technologies being deployed today will determine how effectively we continue to do so in the future. And so if we want a rail system that is safer, stronger, and ready for the next century, we must allow innovation to lead the way. The choices made here will determine whether progress accelerates or stalls. And let's make sure it accelerates. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. Our second witness is Mr. Chris Spear, President and CEO of the American Trucking Association. He has extensive experience in transportation and public policy, having held senior positions at Hyundai Motor Company, Honeywell International, and served as the Assistant Secretary of Labor for Policy at the U.S. Department of Labor. Mr. Spear, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Well, let me thank you for letting Ian go first. I really appreciate that. Chairman Young, Ranking Member Peters, members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today about how Congress can keep America's trucking industry safe, competitive, and innovative. Trucking moves the vast majority of our nation's freight, connects manufacturers to markets, keeps store shelves stocked, and delivers essential goods to communities in every state. Our industry is already investing billions in technology to create a safer, more modern freight network. Innovation-driven solutions not only improve outcomes, but also help lower prices paid by consumers and businesses alike. We need Congress's support to continue building a stronger supply chain. First, Congress should repeal the 12% federal excise tax on heavy-duty trucks, trailers, and tractors. The century-old tax punishes the purchase of the very vehicles that come with the latest technologies. Adding tens of thousands of dollars to the cost of new equipment discourages fleet turnover and keeps older equipment on the road longer. Congress has a ready solution in Chairman Young's Modern, Clean, and Safe Trucks Act, which would remove this outdated barrier and accelerate deployment of safer, cleaner, and more efficient equipment nationwide. Second, Congress should solidify the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's role as the primary authority over motor vehicle safety standards. Trucking is a national industry, and vehicle standards must remain national as well. When states or courts impose equipment standards beyond federal law, it creates a fragmented regulatory landscape that drives uncertainty for manufacturers, motor carriers, and the supply chain. Congress should reaffirm that when NHTSA acts, federal standards take precedence. That clarity is essential if companies are going to invest confidently in new technologies and deploy them at scale. Third, Congress should establish and implement a federal framework for autonomous commercial vehicles. These systems hold real promise to enhance safety, improve productivity, and strengthen America's economic competitiveness, but only if deployment is governed by a clear national strategy. The Build America 250 Act would provide this guidance, preventing a patchwork of state rules from stifling innovation. Fourth, Congress should support technology upgrades and operational improvements at federal agencies to combat the rise of cargo theft and supply chain fraud. Criminal networks are exploiting outdated systems, weak identity controls, and fragmented reporting structures to steal freight, impersonate legitimate carriers, and undermine trust in the supply chain. Congress can help close those gaps by supporting agency modernization, stronger registration integrity, better data sharing, and advanced fraud detection tools. Chairman Young's Safer Transport Act would provide important tools to help DOT detect and deter fraud, while the Combating Organized Retail Crime Act would enhance and coordinate the response to organized supply chain crime. Fifth, Congress should continue promoting
proven technologies while refraining from mandating technologies that have not yet matured or demonstrated effectiveness in real-world trucking operations. Congress and regulators should distinguish between rules that are ready for broad deployment and those that are still requiring development, testing, and refinement. Sixth, Congress should support a resilient national approach to positioning, navigation, and timing without disrupting the existing technologies and services that keep freight moving. Policymakers should reject proposals such as NextNav's petition that would repurpose the lower 900 megahertz band in ways that risk harmful interference to the millions of incumbent devices and systems already operating there, including technologies that support logistics, transportation, and critical infrastructure. Together, these 6 steps would send a clear signal. Congress is ready to embrace technologies today and tomorrow and help the trucking industry deliver even greater safety, resilience, and economic strength for the American people. I look forward to discussing these issues with the subcommittee and answering your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Spear. Our next witness is Ms. Laura Chase, President and CEO of the Intelligent Transportation Society of America, also known as ITS America. Ms. Chase has led ITS America since August of 2021. She has 2 decades of experience developing and implementing policy, including in roles at U.S. Telecom, the American Trucking Association, Justice Department, and the White House. Ms. Chase, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman Young, Ranking Member Peters, members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today on how technological advances are strengthening our nation's transportation system. This discussion comes at an important moment as Congress considers the next surface transportation reauthorization and the future direction of our transportation system. ITS America brings together the full innovation ecosystem, public agencies, private companies, and research institutions to advance a vision of a better future transformed by technology and innovation, one that is safe, smart, and connected. Our focus is not on supporting deployment of technology for technology's sake, but on ensuring that innovation translates into real-world outcomes for the traveling public. Our transportation system has evolved. It is no longer just concrete, asphalt, and steel. Today, transportation is increasingly defined by a combination of physical infrastructure and digital capabilities. Sensors, software, communication networks, and data systems are now embedded throughout the transportation network, creating a digital layer that allows agencies and operators to understand conditions in real time and respond more effectively. This evolution is already delivering measurable results. These developments point to a broader shift. Digital technologies must be treated as core transportation elements. They are fundamental to how the system operates, how it performs, and how it delivers outcomes for the American public. You can't manage what you don't understand, and digital infrastructure fundamentally improves our ability to understand our transportation system. Treating technology as a core element means prioritizing it throughout entire project life cycles, from planning and building to operating and maintaining, and funding it at meaningful levels and in the same way, dedicated way that we do our traditional physical assets. Across the country, technology applications are improving safety, from smart signals and pedestrian detection systems in Bellevue, Washington, delivering a 40% reduction in near-miss conflicts at intersections, to digital alerting systems in Illinois, increasing driver reaction distance and reducing harsh braking, to real-time detection technology in Indiana, keeping workers safe in work zones. The impact on safety is real. Technologies are also improving lives and reducing costs. In Detroit, travel reliability was improved by 30% from advanced traffic management systems using real-time data to optimize signal timing and reduce congestion. Tools that provide real-time truck parking information, streamline waste station operations, and improve logistics planning also allow goods to get to your door more efficiently. Digital twins, sensors, and AI-enabled inspection systems for roads and bridges provide engineers with predictive intelligence to better maintain our infrastructure, saving agencies hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. State and local transportation agencies are deploying these solutions today, but they are often doing so in fragmented ways that limit their full impact. To understand why that matters, it's helpful to consider a broader example. Think about the standalone computer. On its own, it delivers real value, processing information, storing data, improving productivity. but its full potential was realized when it became connected. The internet transformed individual machines into a network that enables communication, coordination, and shared intelligence at scale. Our transportation system is now at a similar inflection point. Intelligent technologies are already delivering meaningful benefits at individual intersections, along individual corridors, and throughout individual states. But when those systems are connected through national, interoperable digital infrastructure, they become something more powerful, a coordinated, responsive network that can operate as a system. Without that integration, we risk a future where deployment remains uneven and fragmented, limiting the safety, mobility, and economic benefits these technologies can deliver. Addressing that challenge is essential to unlocking the full value of innovation. Federal leadership plays a critical role. A clear national approach to transportation technology will provide direction, reduce fragmentation, and give public agencies and private partners alike greater confidence to invest. Establishing consistent national frameworks for areas such as automated vehicles, data privacy, and system interoperability can help ensure that innovation is deployed safely and at scale across the country, just as providing funding flexibility and encouraging outcomes-based approaches can help agencies deploy solutions that evolve over time and deliver measurable results. America has an opportunity to lead the world in transportation system modernization. Digital solutions, both in infrastructure and in vehicles, are poised to provide safety and operational benefits that can unlock the next chapter of America's transportation evolution. By aligning policy, funding, and deployment strategies, this Congress can deliver to the American people the full safety, efficiency, and mobility benefits that these technologies offer. Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to the questions.